Imagine being offered $5 million just for staying inside a large white room for 50 days without stepping out. Sounds easy, right? Well, that's exactly what happens to Kat and Mike in this story. At the beginning, a couple, Kat and Mike, explore a massive all-white room. Everything in the room, from the walls to the furniture, is completely white. This isn't just any room. It's part of an experiment conducted by a doctor named Warden. The rules are simple. Stay inside the white room for 50 days and they will win $5 million. However, if either of them quits, the prize money drops to $1 million for the remaining participant. The experiment has strict rules. There is no contact with the outside world, no entertainment or distractions, and only basic necessities will be provided. Despite this, Kat and Mike are thrilled, believing this is the easiest way to make money. They discuss their plans. Kat dreams of fulfilling all her ambitions, while Mike plans to party with the money. He tells Kat excitedly, "Once we have all this money, we'll never have to worry about finances again." Suddenly, a voice from an AI device echoes in the room, explaining the rules. They are now inside the Immaculate Room, a completely white, minimalistic space. The room contains one bed, a small bathroom, and a monitor displaying all the rules. One important rule states that only one person can use the bathroom at a time. There's also a red button on the wall, which either of them can press if they want to quit. A large digital clock above the exit door counts down the 50-day challenge. They can order food and drinks using the monitor, and every day, a designer nutrition box is delivered with their meals. The lights turn off automatically at night and turn on in the morning. A robotic AI voice announces the time changes: morning, afternoon, evening, night, signaling when they should sleep or wake up. They can set alarms if they wish. Mike treats the whole experience like a vacation, staying relaxed and unbothered. However, as time passes, he begins struggling with boredom at night. Meanwhile, Kat sets an alarm to maintain a routine and stays disciplined. That night, they sleep together in the same bed, spending their first night in the Immaculate Room. The next morning, Kat wakes up and heads to the bathroom to take a shower. As she looks at herself in the mirror, she reminds herself that they must win this challenge at any cost. After showering, she puts her clothes in the bathroom's laundry system before stepping out. After washing their clothes in the laundry system, Kat and Mike receive simple plain pajamas and shirts in return. Jokingly, they say, "At least they gave us colorful clothes." After some time, Kat starts wondering why the doctor is conducting this experiment. She asks Mike, but he simply replies, "I have no idea." All they know is that they have to stay in the room for 50 days in exchange for $5 million. To pass the time, Kat tries to keep herself calm by meditating, while Mike keeps staring at the countdown clock. As time drags on, Mike starts thinking about strange things, like why the walls are completely white. Kat warns him not to focus on the clock, reminding him, instead of worrying about time, think about the $5 million waiting for us at the end. But for Mike, it isn't easy. He has been struggling to sleep properly for days. Meanwhile, Kat maintains her daily routine and encourages Mike to exercise to distract himself. Seeing Kat meditate, Mike also decides to start running around the room. To kill more time, they play childish games together and even dance for fun. When they send their clothes to the laundry again, they receive the same plain pajamas in return. Weeks pass, and then something unexpected happens. Mike spots a bug in the room. Excited, Mike starts talking to the bug and even tries to feed it. However, as soon as he accidentally spills a few drops of his milkshake on the floor, the AI device's voice warns him, "The food and drinks are only for you two." Mike gets frustrated and says, "This bug will die of hunger. I'm just asking permission to take it outside." But the AI device does not respond to his request. Feeling helpless, Mike insists, "I have to take this bug outside, or it will die here." He then starts walking towards the red button on the wall. Kat panics, knowing that pressing the button means they lose everything and leave empty-handed. Mike, however, isn't trying to quit. He just wants to save the bug. The argument between them escalates, with Mike arguing that the bug is a living being and deserves mercy. Kat, frustrated, tells him, "You're reacting this way only because you're a vegetarian." Their argument continues for a long time until Kat, in a fit of anger, accidentally steps on the bug, killing it instantly. Shocked, Kat stares at the lifeless bug and says, "I didn't mean to do that." Mike refuses to accept Kat's explanation and, in anger, spends the entire day sulking in a corner. According to the rules of the room, they were allowed to take one treat during their stay. Mike announces, "I'm going to take my treat." Kat warns him, "If you do that, $1,000 will be deducted from our prize money." But Mike doesn't listen and takes his treat anyway. Instead of something useful, he receives a green marker. Disappointed, he mutters, "This is useless, but at least I can pass time by drawing on the walls." As soon as Kat sees Mike drawing on the walls, she jokingly asks him to draw her portrait. Mike agrees and starts sketching her. However, after a while, Kat gets bored and leaves, saying she doesn't want to be his model forever. Meanwhile, Mike keeps drawing non-stop until his marker completely runs out of ink. He covers the entire bathroom in towels with green marks. which frustrates Kat even more. Realizing how tense things have become, Kat apologizes to Mike for her previous rude behavior. Despite their fights, they find relief in one thought: only 20 days remain out of 50. Days continue passing slowly. Then, one morning, something shocking happens. Kat finds a gun inside the bathroom. Both of them are stunned and terrified, wondering how the gun got there. They quickly hide it under the bed, as the AI device had strictly forbidden them from sending anything other than clothes to the laundry. A few days later, they receive recorded messages from their family and friends. Mike watches a video message from his sister, who tells him that she and their mom are doing fine. Seeing his sister makes Mike happy. However, when Kat receives a message from her grandfather, she is devastated. Her grandfather says, "I'm not living on the streets anymore, but in a shelter now." Kat panics and tries to stop the video, but no matter how many times she taps the screen, it won't pause. Overcome with emotions, she runs into the bathroom. Mike tries to calm Kat down, but she keeps crying loudly. After a while, exhausted, they both fall asleep together, holding each other tightly. The next morning, when the alarm rings, Kat doesn't get up from bed. She has fallen into deep depression. Mike, confused, asks, "Why aren't you getting up?" Kat finally opens up to him. "I saw my grandfather after so many years. I always lied to you, saying I didn't have a grandfather, because I was ashamed of him." She explains that her grandfather was an alcoholic, and because of him, she struggled financially to even pay her school fees. Mike tries to cheer her up, saying, "Only 2 weeks are left. We're almost there." But the gun is still lying under the bed, creating an unspoken tension in the room. Mike tries different ways to entertain Kat, but nothing works. Eventually, he gives up and just lies beside her in bed. Even then, she remains completely unresponsive. Frustrated, Mike moves to the floor and sleeps there instead. The next day, Mike suggests they take their second treat, hoping it will help Kat snap out of her depression. Kat refuses at first, saying, "I don't want to lose any more money," but Mike insists, feeling helpless. Finally, Kat changes her mind and says, "Fine. Take the second treat, even if it costs us $1 million. When Mike touches the screen to claim the treat, the exit door suddenly opens. A naked woman enters the room. Mike is shocked. The woman introduces herself as Simone. Simone knows nothing about the experiment. She was hired simply to be there, and she has been paid to stay for an entire month. Kat, clearly uncomfortable, asks Mike to give Simone his shirt so she can cover herself up a little. As soon as Simone sees Mike's drawings on the wall, she praises his artwork, saying, "Wow, this is amazing." Kat immediately feels annoyed. Later that night, Mike offers the bed to both women and chooses to sleep on the floor himself. Seeing this, Kat, unable to tolerate the situation, tells Mike, "You should sleep on the bed too." She then positions herself between him and Simone. Kat barely sleeps the entire night. The next morning, when she wakes up, she doesn't see Simone in bed. She assumes Simone has left, but then she hears movement in the bathroom. When Kat peeks inside, she sees Simone completely naked, wandering around and playing with herself in front of the mirror. Kat decides to remain silent, pretending not to notice. A little later, the three of them start dancing together in the room, laughing and getting closer. Then, suddenly, Simone kisses Mike. This moment triggers something inside Mike. He starts hallucinating. He sees blood everywhere, on the walls, on the floor, and even on his hands. His mind spirals into chaos. He sees himself drowning in water, and then he sees his younger brother drowning with him. As Kat and Simon manage to bring Mike back to consciousness, he is still in a state of panic, shouting repeatedly, "Save my brother Sean from drowning!" Kat helps him onto a bed and lets him rest. A little later, Simon asks Kat how she and Mike first met. Kat shares that they met on a rainy day when she didn't have an umbrella. Mike approached her and sheltered her from the rain. That moment led to a long conversation, and they connected deeply. After some time, Mike wakes up and sits with Simon. They begin sharing personal stories about their lives. Simon reveals that she lost her mother when she was very young. Their conversation turns emotional as they share their grief about their families, which strengthens their bond. As Simon holds Mike's hand to comfort him, Kat suddenly walks in and sees them. Seeing them together, Kat's jealousy and frustration explode. She had already been feeling insecure about their growing closeness. Furious, she accuses Simon of deliberately trying to steal her boyfriend. In response, Simon retaliates, saying that Kat is just an insecure girl who doesn't trust her own boyfriend. A heated argument erupts between them. At this point, Mike, overwhelmed by their fight, yells at both of them and storms out. A while later, Kat, realizing her mistake, tries to apologize to Simon. However, Simon further provokes her by insisting that she never did anything inappropriate with Mike. The next morning, Mike wakes up feeling unwell. By then, Simon has already left the room. Before leaving, she had left a note for Mike that read, "No one has ever made me feel so loved before." When Kat sees the message, she gets furious and accuses Mike of cheating on her. Mike tries to explain that Simon's words are misleading and that everything happening in the room is deliberately orchestrated to create conflict between them. Enraged, Kat pushes Mike in frustration, causing him to hit his head against the wall. Blood starts dripping from his forehead. Hurt and disappointed, Mike distances himself from Kat, telling her that he had never betrayed her, not even when she left for New York. He had always prioritized her happiness, even at the cost of his own friendships and education. He stayed home with her when she was depressed, and in return, all he got was her suspicion and resentment. Realizing her mistake, Kat apologizes, saying she doesn't know why she acted that way. Just then, Mike begins feeling extremely weak and dizzy. He says he needs a doctor. Kat rushes to help him, pressing a towel against his wound. She then reminds him that their room contract includes medical resources. Hearing Kat's words, Mike is in complete disbelief. He asks her, "Do you really care about my injury?" In reality, Mike's wound was minor, and the bleeding had already stopped. However, the thought of what could have happened if Kat had attacked him more violently deeply unsettles him. He realizes that in a fit of rage, she could have seriously harmed him, or even killed him. Furious, Mike tells Kat, "For money, you could have taken my life." He then declares, "To hell with the money. I hate this room more than anything." Mike makes up his mind to leave immediately, but Kat tries to stop him, warning that if he attempts to leave, she will shoot him. Ignoring her threat, Mike presses the red button and walks out of the White Room, despite only having a few days left to complete the 50-day challenge. After Mike leaves, Kat is devastated. She spends the entire day feeling miserable and lost. Eventually, she finds herself staring at Mike's paintings, lost in thought. Although only 2 days remained for her to win the challenge, Kat ultimately decides to press the red button and leave the room before completing it. A few months later, Mike is seen jogging. Now single, he has moved on with his life. As he runs past Kat's building, they unexpectedly cross paths. It is revealed that after leaving the room, they had not met for several months. Mike and Kat decide to have dinner together. As they walk, Mike asks her, "Did you press the red button in the room?" Kat does not answer. Instead, she simply apologizes for everything that happened. As they leave, the camera focuses on a building with a sign that states it was constructed through a generous, anonymous donation. In the final scene, a new couple enters the infamous White Room, ready to take on the same challenge. And with that, the movie comes to an end.